Hi, it's me, I'm back. I haven't done a proper video like this in a while, talking to the camera. We hit 1,500 subscribers like 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to just do a big video to say thank you. The last year has been crazy. I can't believe that 1,500 people, well now 1,600 people, decide to tune in and listen to me talk about music. That's literally like all I've ever wanted to do since I was a kid. So thank you so much to everyone that follows this and subscribes. Thank you to everyone that comments. Thank you to everyone that recommends things. This conversation is so much fun. I love it. I literally love it so much. The last year has been a really odd one for me. Personally, we moved to Australia, and I think it really gave me the opportunity to kind of make without the kind of forces of friends and social situations and judgment being there. And it's been great fun. If I'm honest with you, I've enjoyed it so much. I'm currently on holiday in Bali, in Indonesia, in a little park called Canggu. It's beautiful, the food is amazing, the weather is beautiful, the waves are amazing, our pool, our hotel is beautiful, people are happy, food is cheap as balls, it's wonderful. And it's kind of, this is our holiday, right? This is the end of a much needed holiday after a year of absolute chaos. On top of a full-time job, I was doing all these videos, and you know, I put out just over 200 videos last year. Between August Bank Holiday weekend, Reading, and this year's Reading, it was like 210 videos or something stupid. That's like 4 times more than like most YouTubers put out. Most people put one out a week. I did loads more. So it felt very good to do that, and I feel really happy with achieving what we've done. And the growth has been crazy, you know. Where it was on 100 subscribers before I left for Australia, I'm now on 1,600, and that is amazing. Going into next year, it's going to be a little bit different. There were times this year where I felt a bit bored doing artists that I didn't really care about. I also felt like I was putting people down for the sake of it. Also, don't think like I gave enough time to some of those artists, and some artists didn't like what I had to say about them by posting on their Instagram and laughing at me. But hey ho, that is their prerogative. Next year, not only am I going to be covering Reading and Leeds, of course we'll be covering Reading and Leeds. It's year number 13 for me. We'll be covering Glastonbury for the first time in my life. I'm going to Glastonbury, and you can't cover every artist on both of those stages. There isn't enough days in the year, unless I was to do 4 or 5 videos a day, and I didn't want to do that. What I'd rather do is do significantly less videos, but put more into them. Towards the end of last year, I was putting some great work into the things like the Swimmers video and the Fiddler video and the Shikari video. I loved doing those guys, that was so much fun. But because I've just put so much time into Who the Fuck, I haven't managed to put any time into anything else. I was doing some album reviews, I was doing music club. There was loads of stuff that I started to do that I was really enjoying, and there's more that I want to go do. I have ideas about this stuff all the time. So as this grows, I think we will absolutely still do Who the Fuck, and we'll still cover those things, but I just want to do a bit more, is I guess what I'm saying. And what I do, I want to really like and be proud of. I don't know what that looks like. In terms of Reading and Leeds, I'm going to cover every artist on the main stage and the Radio 1 stage, and the whole first announcement. And then after that, it's going to just rely on the conversation. It's going to rely on people that I discover, people that I like, people that you guys want me to cover. I will absolutely do so. We'll work out some form of poll or something. I don't know how it'll work quite yet. I'm still figuring it out. But what I'd like to go do is cover some amazing artists at Glastonbury. Like, if Fleetwood Mac end up headlining, how cool would it be to do a 45-minute video on who the fuck Fleetwood Mac are? Or imagine how good it would have been to do Kylie Minogue this year. I would have loved that. So Glastonbury's going to be getting some Who the Fuck videos. There will be obviously some crossover between Reading and Glastonbury, so I'll probably cover both, all those artists that do both. And then Reading and Leeds, obviously, we'll do what I just mentioned before. On top of that, I stopped doing Music Club. And I stopped doing Music Club because I was putting like 15 hours a week on top of a full-time job into making Who the Fuck. And because I was doing so many videos, and loads of them that I didn't really care about, I really missed out. So I still want to look into every artist, because I learned some great people this year. People like Bakar, Everyone You Know, Laura Jane Grace. There was some Queen Z. There were some fantastic artists that I discovered this year, all through just doing these videos. So I want to still do that, but I want to do it in a way which is productive. We were toying around with podcasts the other day, and that's got some got a great response, some great feedback. So I think whether it's like a Who the Fuck cast, or whether it's some form of weekly show where I go through some of the artists that I'm going to feature and any new music that comes out, I think there's something there that could be really fun. And also put in a bit of Music Club of that, stuff that isn't featured on any of those lineups, because there's been some amazing stuff that's come out this year that I haven't been able to talk about because I've not had time to talk about it, because I've been focusing on stuff that I didn't want to talk about. Which kind of brings us to today. To say thank you to everyone that subscribed at 1,500 people, I put together a mix. And this is something that I used to do all the time when I started DJing. Even before I was DJing, I used to always put mixes together. I remember doing the first one on a free software editor before I even knew what beat matching was. I just crossfaded it between the two. It was awful. It was called Dharma Bass, and it was dreadful. The selection was good fun though, and I've been making playlists since I was a kid. So to do the kind of DJing and being a selector isn't anything new. But always when I put a mix together, I've always kind of focused on one subgenre. And I think now more than ever, that isn't necessarily irrelevant. I don't think any one person just listens to a subgenre anymore. You know, people go from listening to the middle of cheesy 80s to like death metal to fucking gabba, who the fuck knows? There's some really, really fantastic dance music around at the moment. And there's loads of people that don't make dance music making electronic DJable music. So I wanted to kind of blend the two together, along with stuff that isn't DJ friendly at all, and do some remixes and stuff. I tried a few, and I think there's one in here now. It's a Bombay remix, which I've put in there, which is quite cool, and that's just something that I just digged over, put together in a little bit of time. But doing DJ mixes was something I did for a long time, and in fact, if you go on my Mixcloud, you can go back and listen to all of them. Some of them are really good, some of them are... I really like all of the ones that are on there actually. I think they're really cool. I used to just do them for my friends, and it was good fun. They used to listen to them at pre-drinks, at uni, whatever. It just, going for a run, going for a bike ride, working out, gym, whatever it may be. They're good fun to just kind of put on. This mix is a weird one. It starts off with the 1975. It's an unreleased track from their next album, which they are playing live. I think I managed to rip this from the Radio 1, from the Reading and Leeds set. So there's a chance it may go down and get ripped off, in which case it will skip over that and move straight onto the next track, which is by Salute, who I haven't been able to talk about at all. But Salute is a DJ that I'm obsessed with at the moment. Every record he's putting out I love, or she, I don't know. This one is the first one I heard, JTS. I've got a few other tracks that I've put into my library from Salute, which I've been obsessed with, so this one mixes beautifully from that. We then go into a record by Africa Express, which, you know, I think we could go into more detail about another time, but they're amazing. This one features Mr. Jukes, who I'm obsessed with. The track itself is like at 90 BPM. I've just sped it up completely, and it kind of works as like a kind of two-step garage record. It's really cool. That gave me a bit of a Kate Renata vibe, so we went to an older Kate Renata record. Well, it's his most recent, but until he releases more music for me, that's all that's going in at the moment. That then follows into a record by Hermitude, which features both Buddy and BJ the Chicago Kid. Buddy featured on one of the first episodes of Music Club. BJ the Chicago Kid did the record Angels with Mr. Jukes, which I think also featured on Music Club very early on, so good to see them together. Before breaking into Grimes, right? Grimes, this isn't like something that you get with a tech house DJ, they're not going to play Grimes, or a techno DJ, because it's just, it's too like non-genre specific. This is kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to take all of the DJable records in my library over the last few months and just put them together. That new Grimes record is wonderful. I think it's really, really cool, and it follows on from the previous track really nicely, which then goes into XTC by Salado, Eli Brown, one that Annie Mac has been hammering every night on her weeknight show and her Friday show. That then follows into Purple Disco Machine and Emotions, which was, I think it was a sample originally used by, what's his name from Hot Shit, Joe Goddard, that's the one. Yeah, love that record. It's like a remix of that record by Joe Goddard, which I think is fantastic. It's really disco-y. It follows in a similar kind of Kate Renata style of music, but also kind of goes away from that nice, big, techie Ibiza house that Solado was bringing, which then follows into things like Prosper. Prosper are smashing it at the moment. I absolutely love them. I talked about Prosper at Reading this year. Absolutely love them. Every record they're putting out at the moment is amazing. I love them so much. And I'm really excited that they're independently signed and going on to do other stuff as well. I'm really excited to see where that goes. That then follows into Skrillex and Boys Noise with, I think, Ty Dolla $ign. Just a really cool record. I think it's just really, really cool. Good to see those three people working together in something that isn't something that I think any of them really make. It's not even really a Boys Noise record. It's quite a new one for all of them. I guess America's just catching up to Deep House a bit. Following that, we look at the newest record from Tourist, who I love. I loved everything he put on his last record. I think it was amazing, and I'm really excited to see where he comes next. This one is a bit of a weird, two-steppy. It reminds me of the stuff I used to DJ a lot when I did my blank canvas mixes, which was an event I used to put on. We can talk about that again in the future at some point, don't worry about that. Which follows nicely into the George Fitzgerald remix of Exits by Foals. Again, stuff that comes from different scenes coming together to make something a bit different and new was the kind of idea behind this mix. I didn't want to be just pigeonholed to just making a tech house mix, because I think that would be boring. Which is why the record then fades into an album track by Bring Me the Horizon. That album they put out, Ammo, this year was wonderful, and they've got some really cool little electronic skits, and from the minute I heard them, I thought, I want to start using these in records, in mixes, because why wouldn't you? They sound wicked, but they're never going to be, you know, mixed by people because they're not on that circuit or in that scene. So that was to squeeze stuff like this. Same with the 1975 record. To squeeze stuff like that into this has been a lot of fun. Following that, we go into Peggy G, which is a record I'm obsessed with. Is it Starlight? Starry Night, that's the one. It's a wicked record. Really, really cool. Really fun bass line. Very, very French. Good to see that back. And then for shits and giggles, I decided to whack in the Bombay, newest record from Bombay. And it sounded really cool. I just thought that it could have been more DJ friendly. So I have I've just gone and done a little stupid little Tequila Face edit, which is I think I've just chucked a K-Tronada drum beat underneath it and put in some other bits and bobs. That then goes into Jarami, and if you watch my previous video and listen to the mix, listen to the playlist, then you'll see that I loved this record. There's that whole kind of sound that works really well. It's like Jarami, Salute, K-Tronada, that kind, Mr. Duke's kind of sound that is just really fun. I don't know what you call it, but it's wonderful. It's like new disco or something. I don't know what you call it. It's very cool. This then quickly fades into Everyone You Know, who again are not a DJ friendly act, but they're making house record. They're making house indie pop. And it's got a 4/4 and it's DJable, so it went in this mix, and I'm really happy that I managed to get this one in because I think this record's great. I think they're amazing. I've enjoyed every single part of them, and they mix beautifully into I Like the Way by Moon Willis. It's been a lot of fun putting these records together. That's a really great house record that starts simple and delicate and turns into something that is just very danceable, I guess. It's just really a really cool record, which is followed up by Two Nights by Leaky Lee, Skrillex and Ty Dolla $ign. We've had a Skrillex and Ty Dolla $ign record in this earlier. I don't think they're related as projects. I thought about that long and hard, but both of these records have been quite important to me over the last few months, so I had to put them both in. Just that whole kind of stint there is wonderful, but there's these fucking great records that I'm really into at the moment, and what I was going to try and do was remix some of them and put them together as some form of remix and put them all at a similar kind of tempo, before realising that the last three records that I've got on today's mix went together so beautifully. So the mix fades out. There's all different ways in terms of how DJs process this, that you can mix tempos, you can do it slowly, you can do repeats, you can do reverbs. It fades out and then it goes into the next part. It's a bit late and cheap and cheesy, but it works. Then go into Shy FX and Bad Up the Wee, featuring Getz and Koji Radical, two artists that I think are just amazing. They're so good. I love Koji Radical so much. His voice is like nothing else. I'm really excited to see his next project. Before fading into Fear No One by Magda St Hilaire. A great kind of dub-esque record. Not grime in a traditional sense. Certainly a 140. Got that kind of dub reggae, brass samples and bass lines. It's bouncy. It's at 140. It works. Mixing these together was just beautiful. I was just playing around in Tractor, and it seemed to fit really well. So I'm happy that worked, and that we didn't have to remix them to get that. And I said from the get-go that I wanted to start the 1975 and end on Kano. Now sometimes you do this in a slow progressive tempo change, but that Class of Deja by Kano is one of my favourite grime records of the year. Favourite records of the year. I think it's spectacular. Featuring DWE and Gets again. You know, we're talking about legends in the game at this point here. And just, I somehow, I knew from the minute I heard it that I needed to get this out to everyone else. So that's how we end the mix, and it ends with Kano. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. In like 2014, I was doing them all the time, and then I stopped for whatever reason. I stopped DJing as well. I think probably I got a full-time job, and I started working with a load of people that used to put me down for doing anything creative. So I felt a bit stupid about doing it. So anyway, I've got an audience now. Can't say no. 1,600 of you fuckers. So I've got to do it. I hope you like it. This is something that I think I quite like to do regularly, not weekly or even monthly. Maybe we'll just do it at certain milestones. I'll put a mix together of stuff that I like. Sometimes it can be genre specific, sometimes it can be just a mash. Sometimes I could do something live, who knows? I'd love to be able to put this on YouTube, but unfortunately the copyright licensing with YouTube is different to Mixcloud. But if you go listen to it on Mixcloud, you are giving royalties to the artist, so it's good to do that. Anyway, this is a bit of a ramble. As I said, we're coming back with more. We'll have our first announcement for Reading next month, end of next month, I'd imagine. Between now and then, I'm going to be doing one fucking huge Australian road trip. So I'm going to be driving from Brisbane to Adelaide. How many miles is that, you ask? Let me tell you. It's 2,000 kilometres. 2,000 kilometres. We're going to do it over about 5 weeks. Stopping off all the way down the east coast and then swooping under through Melbourne. Anyone watches this channel and has done that trip or has been to any places between Brisbane and Adelaide and has any recommendations, I'd love you to send them my way. So in terms of content, music content's going to be pretty quiet between now and then, I'll be completely honest. I might do the odd album review, or I might put together a mixtape like I did last week. That was a lot of fun, but I don't really know if I'm going to push myself to do too much between now and then, because I don't want to get stressed. And this is holiday, because the rest of the time is full on. But I might do some travel vlogs, so if that's something you're interested in, then cool. But yeah, if it's quiet between now and then, that's why. And I think it's important that I give everyone a little bit of an update. Thank you so much to everyone that's subscribed so far. I really hope you enjoyed this mix. It's been a lot of fun to put together, and I'm just really happy to be doing that kind of stuff again. And yeah, I'm thinking about doing some podcasts and stuff like that. If there's anything you want to feature, perhaps we could do a weekly Q&A or something. I don't know. Well, ideas my way always. That's always great. Loving the conversation as always, and thank you so much to everyone that subscribed. That's all I have to say. 1,600. Wow. See you later. Bye. Oh my lord, you're warm.